Oh, hello. I think I've got the sound settings wrong. Let me try again. Let's see if that works. Does that work? Oh, yes. I don't know if it is working, but of course, I want it to be. Because I want to give thanks. It's Thanksgiving Day, and I'm in Los Angeles, California, the untied states of America. Did I say untied? Oh. Anyway, it's Thursday, November 26th. It's 11 in the morning, and I've been up since 6, but I've been working on a new song and a video to go with it. And this one is going to be released fairly soon. Hello, Michelle. How you doing? I'm glad you came on. That's really good. Hope you're having a great Thanksgiving with your family. That's what it's all about. We have a lot to be grateful for. The attitude to gratitude. I think I've talked to that before. I have a lot to be grateful. Yeah, I'm doing good. Michelle just asked me how I am. Well, I'm a little lonely at the moment, but house sitting for my ex whilst my daughter goes up north. Okay, that's good. My daughter went up north with my my ex to look at colleges for 3 or 4 days. So they've extended it because I think they're having a good time. I do hope they're having a good time. Womb. Yeah, I got the womb sound. This is my adoptive country, and I do understand this year more than any why I think Thanksgiving is a good thing to celebrate, a really good thing to celebrate. We have a lot that we have to be grateful for. And yeah, I know there's some kickback for why we celebrate Thanksgiving here in the United States by some, but I like to think of it as two cultural groups from different parts of the world getting together and sharing a meal. And if that is truly what we're giving thanks for, then we should be doing more of it. We've been divided so many times, it almost feels like I'm divided up myself, you know? I mean, it's weird. It's the simplest of control mechanisms, divide and rule, you know? I mean, but at the same time, it's like all these internal divisions, all the walls we build in our head for this difference and that difference. And I know there are wonderful differences. I think I read a long time ago that, you know, we're all different. We're like fractals. We're like snowflakes, you know? We're all different. We're all snowflakes, but we're in a snowdrift. So it's, you know, we've got to understand that viva la difference. I met with a friend yesterday, and he was we went out for dinner, and he's always arguing with himself in his conversation with me, which is very strange. Yeah, I mean, he argues with himself because what he desires and what he has are separate, and he can't seem to draw them together. He can't seem to realize that your desires can be your dreams, and your dreams can drive you towards greatness. But his impatience for those dreams to manifest make him frustrated. You know, it's kind of almost like, I want it and I want it now. Well, I learned a long time ago that if you want something that you really, really desire, then you have to be patient, because it's not your plan, that's somebody else's plan, because it involves greatness outside of humanness. And you can call it the greatness of God, you can call it consciousness, you can call it Yahweh, you can call it Muhammad. It really doesn't matter, but it's this idea that we're able in some way to push the bigger picture along. The smaller picture being us, our own individual thoughts and desires. And we do in some ways manifest those daily in our perceptions. But the bigger picture, well, that's up to God. That's not up to us. I really am grateful for everything I've got right now. Right here, right now. Very grateful. Yes, Michelle just said, rigidity here gets you nowhere. That's so true. I love Alan Watts, and one of his analogies was, about the flow, about being in the flow. And that's what we have to be. We have to be in the flow of life. And life it's no good clinging to the bank anymore, literally and figuratively. The bank, of course, being this ridiculous way the economy is controlled and manipulated. So, the bank. So don't cling to the bank. Go with the flow. Open yourself up to all sorts of rewards, and stay in the creative flow as much as possible. Focus on gratitude and abundance, grace, peace. Yes, Bruce Lee did say like water. And it's true. I mean, there have been some enlightened people in my life that have let me know. But of course, you have to be in the space to receive if they're trying to give you a lesson, I mean, it's like a really good teacher will subtly teach a lesson. It's by doing and being what you want, what you desire. It's that's what you have to be. You want peace, be peace. If you want love, be love. I went out yesterday. I took a dog for a walk. I'm going to do it again this afternoon because it's a nice day. Going to take one or two maybe this time. I might get bold and take two of the bigger dogs for a walk down the park, because to be in nature and to understand that this earth is abundant and it's beautiful. The things we complain about are mostly the things that we've done to it. So, responsibility. it's a definite responsibility. But to go out amongst nature, if you get the chance, even in, you know, a cityscape, you can still find a patch of green or a tree, or, you know, some piece of nature which is largely unspoilt. So I think that's a good thing to do today. Yeah, this people tend to swim upstream. There's no way to go against God. I mean, if you're going against the flow, you're just creating problems for yourself. You can stop it and change it anytime. Absolutely. Bill Hicks. Oh, I love Bill Hicks. That end speech that he used to do, you know, explore so as we can be free to explore inner and outer space together forever. That's it. It's the adventure, isn't it? That's life. That's our human existence. But we have to be. Yeah. Bill Hicks was great. Not always great. He was sometimes very cantankerous and very rascal-like, you know. I mean, yeah. My friend Mark Atwood, who I've become friends online with, and he and I did an interview. Gosh, it's got to be about 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know, but he and I did a Zoom interview. He's been interviewing some really out there people, which has been quite brilliant. His site is called Adventures in a Meat Suit, and he interviews some really interesting people and talks to them. But he's really interviewing himself a lot of the time, because, you know, he'll pose a question or ask something of somebody and wait for their answer, and then he'll tell them his answer, which is great. I mean, it's all a voyage of discovery, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, there's people out there, you know, that are doing great work, and yeah, of course the system doesn't like it. I believe that my music and art and my output into this digital world, into this socially controlled, socially engineered, social networks, I believe that's shadow banned. Shadow banning is kind of like a weird expression. But it, you know, most people who listen to my music and my art and see what I'm trying to do are really supportive. It's only a handful of people, but the truth is, just because of the quality of the music itself, I know it should be more, in inverted commas, popular. And the reason it isn't is because I've no big PR machine behind me. I've no real finances behind me. And maybe I'm saying things that a lot of people don't necessarily want to hear, but it's fairly obvious to me that we should be able to make a living out of our art and our music if we put as much time and effort and quality into it as I've done over the years with my music partner Derek, who is getting over a long-term, well, not long-term, but a fairly long illness, and I hopefully he and I can get together soon, because a lot of what I've been creating recently has been stuff that I've found and remastered from our catalogue of songs that never got released, and there's quite a lot of those. So I'm still working on stuff. I recently put out a version that I think I wrote the poem in 1996 or 95 called All One. And it's spelt like it's alone with a double L, you know, all one, because we are all one. But this mix I called the Shadow Work mix, because, you know, as Jung, who was a great, he was more than a psychologist, he was a philosopher too. But Carl Jung was, he wrote a lot about the shadow, and it's basically the ego, and it's a little more than that, but the shadow. So we have to do that shadow work. You know, I don't want to go on much of a rant about not being popular, because it seems like I'm wanting recognition for what I've done. I don't want recognition. I enjoy doing it. I very much enjoy doing it. But what I do require within our system is enough money to pay rent and pay my bills, keep a roof over my head and food in my stomach, which seems to be going along okay. But it's really by the seat of my pants. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. This is not an ideal situation. I haven't got a flow to be in the flow of, apart from my own creative flow. So it's really, I mean, I don't need much, but thank goodness for some friends of mine who are buying my music. Thank goodness for some friends of mine who are buying my t-shirt designs and paraphernalia, apparel. There's some gifts on there too, interesting, like, you know, household things, mugs and travel mugs and bits and pieces. So people could buy things for Christmas, but do they want to buy things with my art on that can be seen as contentious? Probably not, but hey, I've made a bit. I just watched a very good video. A Canadian man living in Norway now talks about childhood trauma and the ego. Yeah, I've worked through a lot of my childhood trauma. Luckily, I have some very good friends who have helped me spiritually. It's funny, you know, because regardless of whether we believe it or not, we all suffered childhood trauma. To what degree and how much that has given us problems over the years because of the unlearning process. I mean, I'm very lucky that I have some brilliant teachers. One particular lady she's a spiritual healer, and she went in and she said that it's undoubtedly that, and unplugged it and helped me start to receive the rewards that I think are mine in this world. So they're coming, and everything again takes time, and I still have to do a lot of the work. I mean, there's, you know, somebody can unplug you from a system, or from, you know, think of it like you know, something that runs through you, like you know, you can unplug from the things that hurt you, but then you really have to work on the scar tissue, and it's still there. I mean, there's no danger that there is going to be scar tissue. So you really do have to do the inner work as well. I mean, it's not just, oh, good, she unplugged me from my problems. It's still doing the inner work. And I do. I mean, I'm not religious about anything, but apart from creativity, but yeah, I do it. I do like what a lot of people call discipline in my life. But that's because I don't really believe I need guardrails. I don't need any guide rails or guardrails to save me from hurting myself. I think I'm capable of taking care of myself. Okay. Oh my gosh, Michelle. These are things we could talk about, but I don't know if we should talk about it here. Oh, you've ordered a hoodie. Oh, that's good. I actually have one too. I think the one. Which hoodie did you buy? Okay, I just watched the very good video because you can get all the designs on hoodies, but you ordered a hoodie. I've got the one with the picture of Gandhi and Disobey that I designed many years ago, and then it says on the back, "Greed kills, end wars." Oh, you got the one with the angel wings, of course. Tear the walls down. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's a good song too. I really like that song. Yeah. And you deserve angel wings. Actually, we've all got angel wings if we just want to flex them, really. We can be good more than we're bad. So that's good. No worries, mate. Oh, it's a choice, isn't it? I mean, really, there are so many active choices that we have in our lives. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. You know, this, that, the other. I mean, we can get overwhelmed with the amount of choice, but the real choice is clear to me, both politically, spiritually, socially. There's a choice between tyranny and freedom. You know, it's a very thin line, but there's tyranny or freedom. I mean, it comes from, I think that comes from one of the anarchy groups that I used to belong to. I mean, you know, because government, they say there's no division between left and right anymore. Well, there isn't any division between left and right in politics. The far end of left is state-run communism, and the far end of right is dictatorial fascism. So it's, you know, you draw the circle political, and it's like, you know, you want that middle way, but you go round the circle, and it's like they meet. You know, each time it's like that. If you go on the extremes of most things, you're going to find that they only serve for a very short amount of time, all of humanity, and then if they do serve humanity in any way, it's through violence and war. And I think that we've seen through that paradigm. I think we've ascended beyond that paradigm. Many have individually, but collectively, I think humanity is ready to see peace, not war, not more war, more hatred. We want more peace, more love. I mean, it's time for that ascension. Seeing through the illusions. Well, we create illusions. I mean, I'm look at this. This is an illusion. Or is it? We do it for entertainment, but if we do it in the name of controlling others, then obviously we're completely lost, you know. So I've enjoyed accidentally stumbling across lots of things on YouTube and BitChute and various things, some educational things, some enlightening things. And, you know, it's good that some people are literally talking to the screen, because it helps them work out who they are and what they want. It's a good exercise. I mean, there was a acting class where you talk to yourself. A friend of mine went to, and I said to him, I said, "Do you get any sense out of yourself?" And he said, "Not really." And I said, "Well, then it's no different from talking to me." He thought that was funny, but at the same time he was like, "But why don't you do it? Break on through to the other side." I was in the Doors movie. That was a fun movie to be in. Just an extra in that. It was one of the first things I did in America, which was funny. It is really weird. Yeah, I mean, lots of strange things have happened to me in my life when I've been open to them. Closing off experience, that's what I don't like. I mean, I've got it in some people around me where, you know, they'll go a certain amount of the way towards a truth, a universal truth, and then they'll start doing this, you know. It's like, is it too much? You know, is it too much to see for some people? Well, yeah, I suppose it is, really. Free will. It's funny, I sent out some copies of the song All One, and I said to radio people I know who are, a couple of people I know who are radio DJs on small independent radio that nobody listens to, which is great, but it's getting out there, but it's, you know, it's small right now. And because I was sending it to a radio station, I said, "Play at will." And then I put in parentheses afterwards, "Poor Will." Oh, play at will. Know thyself. Oof, yeah. Well, nobody knows me better than me. And I don't know me very well either. I do, really. Yeah, the Doors movie was quite a movie. It was somebody else's take on what the Doors were, but, you know, at the same time, it's, you know, I suppose in good times, somebody will, you know, do a movie about other bands that had big influence over youth culture. But I think the Doors actually were, and especially Jim Morrison. I mean, it was actually the Jim Morrison story more than it was the Doors movie. The Oliver Stone one. It was, you know, it was well done. Apparently, he shot countless hours, and the edit was forever to get it down to a film. So I was in the Andy Warhol party scene. It was so funny. You know, my band I'd been to Los Angeles once before I'd stayed here a couple of weeks, but I brought my whole band back and we stayed for 6 months. And one of the first things we did was get a gig at the Central Club, which is now the Viper Room, and it's opposite the Whiskey A Go Go. And when we were playing at the Central Club, somebody came up and said, "You guys are awesome, you look great," and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. And he said, "No, I'm a talent scout." And I'm like, "Oh, for what?" And he went, "Movies." He said, "I want you guys to be in this movie." And I said, "Okay, what's the money like?" You know, I mean, I was very down. I'm very straightforward when people ask me stuff. So he gave me his card. We went along and registered with this agency, and then a few days later we get a phone call, "Can you be on set at this time?" And I said, yeah, what are we in? And he said, the Doors movie. Get in costume, you know. So we went hair and makeup and wardrobe, and I was ushered in to a big warehouse scene, party scene, and told to sit on a couch, and it was all decked out, all 70s, early 70s style, which was very cool. And there were about 100 people at this party, and it was supposedly a party thrown by Andy Warhol for Jim Morrison and the Doors. And then, you know, I'm just sat there. There's lots of people with, you know, drinks in their hands and fake joints and stuff. And it was fun, and they were rolling all the time. There was cameras on us all the time. People, you know, it was interesting. But then I got to talk to, and everybody, with the assistant director said, everybody has to stay in character. Think of yourself as being at the coolest, hippest party of that time with the coolest of hippest people. So that was really difficult for me because, you know, that's out of my character. But you know, one of my first experiences about being in Los Angeles and on set was being at a party with Jim Morrison, deceased, and Andy Warhol, deceased, and chatting to them, you know, just as if they were just everyday people. I mean, Val Kilmer did a brilliant job as I mean, he's a good actor. He's a great actor, but he stayed in character the whole time. You know, so it was a weird experience, but it was a great experience because it was, you know, I saw it all as fun and a way of earning a bit of money, and it was really interesting. I loved it, and I did a lot of film work as an extra and behind the scenes, and then I became a production designer and art director later. So, you know, it becomes evident that you can be what you want to be, and I've been open to the flow. So it's been good. It's been good to me. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. It's a trip. Yeah. Later, I bumped into at a Occupy Wall Street rally. I bumped into I forgot his name. Kruger, one of the actual Doors members who was. I'd met him on set that time we did the Doors movie. Because he was like the musical consultant or something, you know. Obviously, they needed somebody to authenticize the movie. So he was one of them. And then I saw him at Occupy Wall Street doing a little musical piece. And then I went up to him and talked to him, and I said, yeah, I was in the Doors movie. And he was like, oh my God, you know. He said, what do you do? And I said, well, I was film extra in that, musician, actor, writer. And he was like, oh gosh, that's awesome. Keep going, you know. And it's weird how life takes these little turns. And I went to London in 2012. I can't remember. When was the London Olympics? It was around that time. I stayed with a friend of mine in the East End of London in an apartment, and then I bumped into another guy I knew who was a photographer there, and he said, oh, I've got a photographic job, do you want to come and help me? And I said, yeah, I can help you, I know how to set up camera equipment. So yeah, it's just photographing an after party. So I went there, and at that after party it was packed. It was a small club in the East End of London, and it was Skrillex doing an after party after a festival, and I ended up chatting to him, and his girlfriend at the time, and a bunch of other musicians. And he actually put me on the microphone for a few seconds during one of his bizarre DJ sets, which was great. And then I found out later that Skrillex, as a producer, ended up working with members of the Doors to do a version of, I think, Break On Through. That was kind of a mashup of the original and some dubstep. So that was, I mean, yes, it's a journey. It's been an interesting journey. And I've been on here for 35 minutes. I don't normally do that. I think it was 2012 too. I went on protests about the way in which the London Olympics were, I mean, if you look at the opening ceremonies and the things that went on, the satanic things that went on, and I'll say it, in and around the Olympics being awarded to London at that time, it was very evident to me that there were dark forces that were working on the Olympics, not the Olympians, not the people who competed, but were working on the spectacle of it all, and the setting up of it all, the financial gain of it all. You know, it was all run by dark forces. It was horrible. So I went on a big protest march there because the land that they grabbed from good people in order to build the Olympic Stadium and all that stuff, the way they treated the people that they turfed off that land was awful. That was one part of it, but the other part of it was just so obvious, just dark forces. Yeah, I mean, most ritualistic events ran and no, I can't say that for sure. I'd have to be a little bit more specific. That's why I like experiencing things, because I'm trying not to jump to judgment too much on everything. I mean, you could easily. I mean, the amount of rabbit holes I go down, and it always leads back to, you know, 13 families or the Rothschild Zionists, or, you know, and it's like, wow, it all goes back to this, all goes back to that. Well, sometimes you have to blame the followers, but most times there's the unawareness, and that's the thing that you have to do with art and music and being a messenger, is you've got to try and subtly release that awareness. A lot of people are really struggling with our current situation because they've been rapidly woke. You know, when you first wake up, I'm sure you know, obviously, when you first wake up from a deep sleep, and, you know, for the first 10 minutes, you don't know what you're doing because you're like, whoa, gosh, you know, you were so deep in sleep. It takes a while. So, you know, a lot of people have been awoken abruptly by the realization that this world is controlled by people who are ugly megalomaniacs. Is being kind. I'm being very kind. These are satanic people. These are people that worship the dark forces and want to control other people's lives. So, gosh, I'm going to get all into that. No, I don't think so. Not today. It's Thanksgiving Day. Let's give thanks. Vinnie Eastwood. No, I don't know Vinnie Eastwood. It's funny, I met Clint Eastwood once. And my neighbor, my good friend Dennis, who is such a brilliant guy. He's like a 66-year-old car mechanic who has helped me a great deal. His analogies his analogies always are really brilliant, because he talks about a car and how to take it apart and reassemble it clean and put it back together. You could take it as, yes, a mechanical thing, or you could take it as totally a Zen thing. So it's like Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance. Oh, my hip's gone weird. Stretch. I think I'm gonna have to go. Gonna have to go for a walk. Okay. Alrighty. Excuse me 1 second. Oof, that's better. My hip locked for some reason. Hip lock. Hip lock. That sounds like it's a different language. Hip lock. Oh, it sounds like something from Star Trek. Brilliant journalist. I thought that was a robe. Yeah, it is. It's one of my kids' robes. It was cold. I came here with, like, a little, what we call a vest. I don't know what you guys call it. Yeah, a vest and a pair of shorts to look after the house and the dogs, and it turned cold, so I have borrowed a robe. I hope I didn't expose myself too much. I thought that was a robe. Brilliant journalist, Vinny. Okay, I'll look up Vinny. Vinny Eastwood. Excuse me. Things I have to do. Things I want to do. Things that I should do. It's all running through my head right now. I think I should take the dog for a walk. That's what I should do. Yeah, that's what I should do. Oh, I should go to the shops then. I know there'll be a local shop that's open. Yeah. Oh, the dilemma. Go smile at some folks. Oh, yeah, that's true. I definitely need to smile at people. All right. Well, thank you for joining me this time, Michelle. I hope in some way to be able to interact with you more directly instead of just, this is fine. This is fine. Posting some more music. Did you hear the new song I posted called All One? Yeah. I'm glad you came on later. Yes. Well, I came on later because when I woke up this morning, the mix I'd done late last night of the song that I was working on, which is called The Mothership, the song I was working on, I listened to it first thing whilst I was in that non-judgmental space before all the filters started coming on. The coping filters that we all use. But I listened to it and I was like, no, it's not good enough. So I went in and mixed it. So from 6 o'clock this morning till I came on here, basically, I've been working on that. So just trying to get it to sound balanced and good in my ears. And because I'm doing it on a laptop and these little things. It was, yeah, I had to have several passes at it, but I think I've got it where I want it now. So, and that's a new one that's called The Mothership that I'm working on. And it's good because it actually came to me on a walk yesterday. It was a piece of music that I hadn't finished, and then I had no vocal lyric for it. But then I was out walking and it just came to me. And it's very, I mean, lyrically, it's just a few words, a handful of words. It's not, but it's, to me, the words are symbolic of much more than the actual words mean. So that's all that matters to me. And if I have to explain it to people, then I will, but I don't really want to. It's called The Mothership, and in parentheses, Take That Ride. And I've talked about it enough in other parts of my life and on here about Gaia, Earth. That's our mothership. Take that ride. Anyway, love your mother. There's something else I could do. I could phone my mum. Although I did talk to her a couple of days ago. Or maybe I'll call her tomorrow. Yeah. Gaia. Our mother Earth, who supplies for us all this abundance. It's so brilliant. All right, I'm going to go. Mother Nature. Cheers. Gosh, this, because I'm set up in my not normal situation, it's kind of weird that I don't even know where the mouse is or the cursor or anything. Connection, of course, absolutely. Let's commune with nature. Let's explore inner and outer space together forever. Yeah, stealing Bill Hicks. Womb. Getting too many calls. All right, I am going to go. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Give your gorgeous, gorgeous children and family a big hug. Ending stream. Bye now. Lots of love. Love to all.